I grew up in a small town where everyone knew everyone. My family, the Smiths, was quite well known, but not always for the right reasons. My father, John Smith, was known as a stern and authoritarian man. He had 3 children, my older brother Michael, myself, and my younger brother Alex. Michael was always Dad's favorite. He was successful in school, played sports, and had lots of friends. Dad was proud of him and often praised him in front of the family and friends. I, on the other hand, was quiet and introverted. I loved reading books and painting, but Dad didn't value my talents. He thought art and literature were a waste of time. He wanted me to become a doctor or a lawyer, but I had no interest in those professions. I often felt lonely and misunderstood. Alex, my younger brother, was the most misunderstood by Dad. He was creative and energetic, but often got into trouble. Alex loved to experiment and explore new things, but Dad saw it as foolishness. He frequently criticized Alex and said he would never amount to anything. One day, at a family gathering, Dad decided to publicly humiliate Alex. He gathered the entire family and friends and, standing before everyone, started talking about how Alex would never achieve success and didn't deserve any inheritance. Dad's words cut deep, but Alex stayed quiet, knowing that protesting would only fuel Dad's anger. "Alex, you've always been a fool," Dad said, looking at Alex with contempt. "You'll never achieve what Michael has. You don't deserve to be part of this family." Dad's words were painful, but Alex knew he couldn't let them break him. He decided to prove Dad wrong. He resolved to work on himself, go to college, and build a career. His goal was simple: to show Dad that he was wrong. I couldn't stand seeing Alex humiliated like that. I decided to uncover the truth about why Dad treated Alex so unfairly. I started digging into our family secrets, talking to relatives and friends who had known Dad for a long time. I discovered that Dad had a dark past. It turned out he had been involved in fraudulent schemes and had enemies who could harm his family. This explained why he was so stern and suspicious, but it didn't justify his treatment of Alex. One day, I found an old diary of Mom's hidden in the family archives. The diary contained entries about how Dad had cheated on his wife and had an illegitimate child. That child, as it turned out, was Alex. Dad had never acknowledged Alex as his son, fearing that the truth would ruin his reputation. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that Dad could be so cruel. I wanted to tell Alex the truth, but I was afraid it would devastate him. So, I decided to act carefully and find a way to help my brother without causing too much pain. Meanwhile, Alex continued to work on himself. He graduated from high school with honors and got into a prestigious university. His career took off quickly, and he became a well-known lawyer fighting for justice. He knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. I continued my investigation. I found out more about Dad's dark past and his involvement in fraudulent schemes. I talked to relatives, friends, and colleagues, gathering evidence to support my suspicions. I learned that Dad had many enemies who wanted to get back at him for his schemes. I realized that my father lived in constant fear that the truth would come out. One day, I met with Dad's former business partner, who told me how Dad had cheated him and taken his share of the business. This man was willing to testify against Dad, but was afraid for his life. I promised him that I would find a way to protect him and help him get justice. I kept digging and found evidence that Dad had been involved in fraudulent schemes and had an illegitimate child. I understood that my father was not the man he seemed to be. I decided to tell Alex the truth, but was afraid it would destroy him. Meanwhile, Alex continued to build his career. He graduated from university with honors and started working at a prestigious law firm. His career was taking off, and he became a well-known lawyer fighting for justice. Alex knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. One day, a client approached Alex, claiming that John Smith had fraudulently taken his property. Alex was shocked but decided to take the case. He knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. During his investigation, Alex discovered that Dad had indeed been involved in fraudulent schemes. He found evidence that could put Dad behind bars. But Alex didn't want to ruin his family. He decided to find another way to achieve justice. Alex turned to his mentor, a renowned lawyer, who helped him devise a plan. They decided to use legal maneuvers to force Dad to admit his mistakes and return the stolen property. Alex knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. He knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. Alex, unaware of my discoveries, continued to build his career. He graduated from university with honors and started working at a prestigious law firm. His career was taking off, and he became a well-known lawyer fighting for justice. Alex knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. One day, a client approached Alex, claiming that John Smith had fraudulently taken his property. Alex was shocked but decided to take the case. He knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. During his investigation, Alex discovered that Dad had indeed been involved in fraudulent schemes. He found evidence that could put Dad behind bars. But Alex didn't want to ruin his family. He decided to find another way to achieve justice. Alex turned to his mentor, a renowned lawyer, who helped him devise a plan. They decided to use legal maneuvers to force Dad to admit his mistakes and return the stolen property. Alex started gathering evidence against Dad. He talked to Dad's former business partners and searched for documents that could prove his fraudulent schemes. He found a lot of evidence that could put Dad behind bars. Alex knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. He knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. Alex decided not to take the case to court. He decided to find another way to achieve justice. He decided to use legal maneuvers to force Dad to admit his mistakes and return the stolen property. Alex knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. He knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. Alex started preparing for the final battle. He knew it would be tough, but he was ready to fight for the truth. He knew this was just the beginning of his journey to justice. He was ready to fight for his place in life and prove Dad wrong. The moment of truth arrived. Alex gathered the entire family and friends, just as Dad had done before. He stood before everyone and began to speak about how Dad had cheated on his wife and had an illegitimate child. He presented the evidence I had found and talked about Dad's fraudulent schemes. Dad was shocked. He couldn't believe his secrets were exposed. He tried to deny it, but the evidence was irrefutable. Alex showed documents proving that Dad had stolen the client's property and stated that he was ready to take the case to court. Dad realized he had lost. He admitted his mistakes and apologized to Alex and me. He promised to return the stolen property and make amends. Alex, though angry, decided to give Dad a chance. Alex and I grew even closer. We understood that the truth always finds a way, even if it's painful. We continued to live our lives, knowing that justice had prevailed. My story became a legend in our small town. People talked about me with respect and admiration, knowing that I had fought for the truth and justice despite all the difficulties. Alex continued to work as a lawyer, fighting for justice and helping people in difficult situations. He knew this was his calling, and he was ready to fight for the truth to the end. I decided to dedicate my life to art. I became a famous artist, creating paintings that reflected my inner world and experiences. My work was full of emotions and deep meaning, and it found admirers all over the world. Michael, our older brother, realized that Dad had been wrong. He decided to support Alex and me in our quest for justice. He became closer to us, and we became a real family. Dad understood that his actions had caused a lot of pain and suffering. He decided to make amends and become a better person. He started working on himself, acknowledging his mistakes, and asking for forgiveness from those he had wronged. Alex, Michael, and I continued to live our lives, knowing that we had done everything possible to achieve justice and find a path to forgiveness. We knew this was just the beginning of our journey, and we were ready to move forward, despite all the challenges. After the revelation, our family dynamics changed dramatically. Dad started to make amends, not just with words, but with actions. He returned the stolen property to the rightful owner and began to repair the relationships he had damaged. It was a slow process, but we could see the sincerity in his efforts. Alex and I watched Dad closely, still wary but hopeful. We saw him reach out to old business partners he had wronged, offering apologies and restitution. He even started volunteering at a local community center, helping those in need. It was a side of Dad we had never seen before, and it gave us a glimmer of hope that he could truly change. Meanwhile, Alex's career continued to soar. He took on more high-profile cases, always fighting for the underdog and ensuring that justice was served. His reputation as a fierce and fair lawyer grew, and he became a beacon of hope for those who had been wronged. I, on the other hand, found solace in my art. I poured my emotions into my paintings, creating pieces that told stories of redemption, forgiveness, and the power of truth. My art resonated with people, and I started receiving invitations to exhibit my work in galleries across the country. Michael, who had always been the golden child, started to see the world differently. He realized that success wasn't just about achievements, but also about character and integrity. He began to stand up for what was right, even if it meant going against the grain. He became a strong ally for Alex and me, supporting us in our endeavors and standing by our side. Our family gatherings became more meaningful. We talked openly about our feelings, our fears, and our hopes. We laughed together, cried together, and supported each other through the ups and downs of life. It was a far cry from the cold, distant family we had been before. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Dad looked at each of us with a mixture of pride and regret. "I'm sorry it took me so long to see the truth," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "I'm sorry for the pain I caused you all. But I'm grateful for the chance to make things right." Alex reached out and squeezed Dad's hand. "We're all in this together, Dad. We'll get through it, one step at a time." And so we did. We continued to heal, to grow, and to support each other. Our family was far from perfect, but we were on the path to redemption, and that was enough. As the years passed, our family continued to evolve. Dad's efforts to make amends bore fruit, and he became a respected member of the community. He even started a foundation to help victims of fraud, using his past mistakes to create a better future for others. Alex's legal career reached new heights. He opened his own law firm, specializing in cases that involved injustice and fraud. He hired a team of passionate lawyers who shared his vision of fighting for the truth and ensuring that justice prevailed. His firm became known for its integrity and dedication to helping those in need. I continued to pursue my art, using my paintings to raise awareness about social issues and inspire change. My work was featured in prestigious galleries and museums, and I even started teaching art classes to underprivileged children, hoping to inspire the next generation of artists. Michael, who had always been destined for greatness, decided to run for public office. He wanted to use his influence to create positive change in our community and beyond. With our support, he launched a successful campaign and was elected to the city council. His platform focused on transparency, accountability, and social justice, and he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of his constituents. Our family gatherings became celebrations of our achievements and our love for each other. We laughed, we cried, and we supported each other through every challenge and triumph. We had come a long way from the broken family we once were, and we were proud of the journey we had taken. One day, as we sat in the backyard, enjoying a family barbecue, I looked around at my family and felt a sense of profound gratitude. We had been through so much, but we had emerged stronger and more united than ever. I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over our faces, I realized that our story was far from over. It was a story of redemption, of forgiveness, and of the power of truth. And it was a story that would continue to unfold, one chapter at a time. Years turned into decades, and our family continued to thrive. Dad, now in his golden years, looked back on his life with a mix of regret and pride. He had made many mistakes, but he had also worked hard to make amends and create a better future for his children and grandchildren. Alex's law firm had become a beacon of hope for those seeking justice. He had expanded his practice to include international cases, fighting for human rights and exposing corruption on a global scale. His work had earned him numerous awards and accolades, but he remained humble and dedicated to his mission. I had become a renowned artist, known for my powerful and emotive paintings. My work had been exhibited in galleries around the world, and I had used my platform to raise awareness about important social issues. I had also founded an art school for underprivileged children, giving them the opportunity to express themselves and pursue their dreams. Michael had risen through the ranks of politics, using his influence to create positive change. He had been elected to the state senate and was now running for governor, with a platform focused on social justice, education, and healthcare reform. His dedication and integrity had earned him the respect and admiration of his constituents. Our family had grown, with Alex and Michael both marrying and having children of their own. Our family gatherings were now filled with the laughter and joy of the next generation, who looked up to us as role models and inspiration. One evening, as we sat around the fireplace, sharing stories and memories, Dad looked at each of us with tears in his eyes. "I am so proud of you all," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You have taken the pain and suffering of the past and turned it into something beautiful. You have created a legacy of love, truth, and justice, and I am honored to be your father." We all reached out and hugged him, feeling the love and gratitude that bound us together. We knew that our journey had been difficult, but it had also been profoundly meaningful. We had learned the power of forgiveness, the strength of truth, and the importance of standing up for what is right. As we looked to the future, we knew that our story would continue to inspire and guide us. We would face challenges and triumphs, but we would do so together, as a family united by love and a shared commitment to justice. And so, our legacy lived on, a testament to the power of truth, redemption, and the unbreakable bond of family. We had come a long way, and we knew that the best was yet to come.